Okay, shalom, shalom. Kwam Yasha Allah. Koholoyimla. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bahashim Rakahadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule well, that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth. I just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and H.I.M that's out here sincerely, keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to the best of their ability. Jachanan Awaf just coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And, basically just wanted to read through this article. It's kind of touchy when it comes to the small hatters, the 1948ers. You know who I'm talking about, but brothers can leave comments in the, scriptures in the comment section. Because like I said, I'm just going to read through it, and you'll pretty much pick up on, by the Spirit, what's coming out of this thing, man. And, y'all willing, I'll throw scriptures out too, roughly paraphrase things. Like I said again, just try and keep it classy, you know what I'm saying, because it's a touchy subject. There's a certain people on the planet that you really can't say anything about, so to speak. But interesting article, though. I'm listening on The Guardian, Politics. It says the New York law aims to stop funding of illegal Israeli settlements in West Bank. It says New York State's Assembly is to consider legislation to stop registered charities from sending tens of millions of dollars a year to fund illegal Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank. State Assembly member Zoran Mamdani, if I'm pronouncing that right, has introduced the Not on Our Dime, Ending New York Funding of Israeli Settler Violence Act to prohibit tax-deductible donations from being used to expel Palestinians from their land and other activities widely regarded as war crimes under the Geneva Convention. The United Nations Security Council has called Israeli settlement construction a flagrant violation under international law. I don't think they're gonna be. They don't see themselves under that category, man. They running things. You're not gonna tell the people that's running shit what they can't do, man. It says this legislation makes it clear that New York will no longer effectively subsidize war crimes and the flaunting of international law. Mandani told The Guardian. Yeah, we'll see how far this goes, buddy. What we have is a number of New York State registered charities that are sending at least $60 million a year to Israeli settlements organizations, which then use that funding to continue the history of expulsion and dispossession of Palestinians in the occupied territories that have been going on for decades. And hey, that's just a small amount of money that's being sent there. Shit. It says the bill was denounced by some other members of the legislature who characterized it as an attack on charities that provide care for victims of terrorism and clothe orphans. Of course, they're going to throw that out there, right? The bill is a ploy to demonize Jewish charities with connections to Israel. It was only introduced to antagonize pro-Israel New Yorkers and sow divisions within the Democratic Party, they said in a statement that did not make mention of settlements. Yeah, of course they're not going to make no mentions. The legislation is backed by the Center for Constitutional Rights, the U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights, and Jewish Voice for Peace, among others. Vince Warren, CCR's director, said aiding and abetting war crimes is not charitable, period. This bill goes a long way towards ensuring that New York is not inadvertently subsidizing war crimes, but rather creating paths for accountability. But I mean, when you really think about it, I mean, all the money that America takes from taxpayers, especially the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, since we're supposedly free, why are they taking money from us? And where do you think that money is going when we can be supporting our families, building up our neighborhoods, building up our own community? The so-called white man, he takes taxes out of our money before we can even see what we've even made, and he sends it to these other countries. I mean, they all doing it. The U.S., they're all in on this shit, man. Anyway, let me see here. Madani named several New York-based organizations as targets for the law, including the Central Fund of Israel, which describes itself as promoting charitable causes in Israel. CFI makes specific mentions of its money going to the land of Israel, which is often used to refer to the occupied territories as well as the state of Israel. The CFI disperses donations to an array of settlers organizations, including the Israel Land Fund, responsible for the expulsion of Palestinian families from their homes to make way for Jewish settlers. See? So just say, all right, hey, look, man, like I said, I'm going to keep it classy. I'm just reading an article. This is for educational purposes only. Another U.S. group, Friends of David, funds Elad, an Israeli settler organization responsible for the forced removal of Palestinians as it seeks to Judaize occupied East Jerusalem. These organizations masquerade as charities while funding illegal activities. What's up, dog? In 2015, the Israeli newspaper Haaretz revealed that at least 50 organizations across the U.S. were involved in fundraising for Israeli settlements. Haaretz said some of the money also went towards providing legal aid to Jews accused or convicted of terrorism and supporting their families through a legal aid society called Haninu. Among those who benefited from the group's support in 2013 were the families of Ami Popper, who murdered 7 Palestinian laborers in 1990, and members of the Bat Ayan Underground, which attempted to detonate a bomb at a girls' school in East Jerusalem in 2002. The proposed legislation will give New York State's Attorney General the power to sue groups funding settlements. It would also give Palestinians harmed by settlers' organizations funded by New York-based charities the right to seek damages in American courts. And you know how that's going to go. Mamdani said that explicit legislation is necessary because while there may be other laws on the books that could be used to prevent American funding illegal activities abroad, the politics of support for Israel in the U.S. means they have not been applied, and they're not going to be applied. You can forget about that, buddy. There's a phrase that I grew up hearing, PEP, progressive except Palestine. You see how time and again how politicians who espouse universal beliefs would always seem to find an exception when it came to the question of Israel and Palestine. We see that sadly in terms of how our laws are applied, in terms of how our policies are applied. What this legislation does is reckons with reality, he said. For that reason, Mamdani acknowledges he will struggle to get the law passed at this time, but he said successive U.S. presidents have opposed settlement expansions and public opinion and increasingly shifting towards support for the Palestinians. I think it would be a long fight. I do not have any illusions. But you look at the attitudes of Americans towards Palestinians and towards Israel, and specifically to the question of settlements, it is very clear that this is also a fight that is broadly popular. Okay, so there you have it, man. You know, I wanted to just touch on this for a hot sec. Let's see what comments got to say. It said, better late than never. It is unconstitutional. The federal government decides this, not New York State. Okay, it says a state is its own governing body, which is right, and can stop the funding and tax revenue from going to certain pots, like illegal settlements in a completely different country. So free Palestine, what's that? Of course, you know, definition that has existed since before Israel. Sorry, enjoy your day. Anyway, good, long live Israel. So you got, I mean, it's juggled on both sides. New York belonged most to Jewish and Italian, not this Arab troublemaker of New York came from Mexico. See? You aren't even from New York. Mind your own business in California. However, Israel isn't in violation of international law, and the Palestinians are simply doing what the French did in World War II and what the Ukrainians are doing now. Anyway, you see what it is. I'm not going to go too far into it, but hey, this guy, man, he can pretty much overall forget about it. He can forget about it. You know, is what it is. But the thing that I wanted to bring out really is that hey, it's talks of what's going on. And I'm gonna leave it at that, you know. So like I said again, any of you brothers, you know, you want to actually go into this article, break some things down, or you want to, you know, do some posts from it, or, you know, or just put some scriptures in the comment board, man. Hey, we know what it is, you know. But like I said again, it's a touchy subject, but it's a great article, and I just wanted to just touch on it because really there's a lot of separation when it's coming straight down the pipe when it comes to you know, the nation of E, We'll call him that right now. Like I said again, you know, this is a touchy subject, but that separation is not going well for them. It's a lot of infighting. We're pretty much at the end where, you know, the allies of a lot of these places are going to come up. They're just infighting. They're fighting against each other. They don't have that togetherness like they used to have. So, you know, with that, hey, shalom.